We got a new term. Not going to get to debut in this series, unfortunately, because there's no more Rise. He is going to be banned away.
Unfortunately, depending on whose perspective you have, you know, I think LYON may be a bit happy.
True. They definitely going to be happy that there is no more Rise after that one. RedBert, I thought, really had some clutch plays. You know, there's always, in anything that goes wrong, there's part misplay, part outplay. You know, Saint was maybe in some spots that he shouldn't have been, but the soul fight, you know, the handshake over the wall from RedBert, game-changing. The final fight, you know, over by that Baron. Well, not final, the kind of felt like it ended the game a bit, but that fight over by the Baron, the flash hostile takeover was incredible as well.
I think if you're playing Renata in a Seraphine and you're both playing passive, you lose so hard because just the general value of a Seraphine with the Diadem and the Echoes of Helia, you get so much easy value. It's so much easier for the Seraphine to impact the game. You have to be proactive, and RedBert really was. So credit to him for that performance there.
Especially after the lane went so bad for them, right? To be able to actually find value in the later stages when most people would be looking at it and saying, okay, well, you've already been heavily outscaled at this point, right? You're not going to be as useful. It is going to be an Aurora first pick here for Loud. It is up and available. Lucian going to be the answer now for Berserker. And Nami is gone. There's obviously the possibilities of Melio. We've seen some Lucian Sona. There's Lucian Braum, the old classic.
Yeah, so there's options available, but I feel like with the Nami gone does limit that. That's like the sort of premier one.
It's the rise of support pairings for Lucian.
Yeah, and they are going to secure the Wukong. We did see a ton of jungle bans in the last draft, so it kind of thinned the pool a good amount. Inspired wanting to get a pick early, some solid engage, and also denies like the Wukong Aurora is a big threat, especially if you're playing a short-ranged AD carry like Lucian.
Yeah, and Azir really has fallen quite a bit in priority. I wasn't sure if it was going to or not, and we have seen it a bit throughout the event, but it is falling through picks and bans quite a lot, has been receiving consistent nerfs. Qiyana being considered here was banned in the second phase last game, if I do recall correctly. So YoungJae going to be able to get his hands on that. You're already looking at a tremendous amount of burst here in these first two picks between the Aurora as well as that Qiyana, and now it is going to be K'Sante locked in. So now you have to choose, do you want to try to match some of these roles? Which lane do you want to counterpick? You can counterpick one of the solos, but then they have protection bans for the other.
Yeah, I think honestly you might just want to grab a support, because even though there are multiple pairings left with the Lucian, you would get them trimmed down pretty quickly if you left it open. And this also means that Loud, they can't ban mid and tops. They can only kind of pick one of those. So they end up going for the Braum in this situation. A strong pairing with the Lucian. Braum did get some slight nerfs, like his ult damage, ult cooldown, but still he's going to functionally be similar. And especially when you have this Lucian, Wukong, and Braum, the passive stacking is really fast. It's a lot of skirmishing power. If you get into like a bot side river 3v3, really hard to play out against this trio. And we see the Rakan banned away, something often picked into the Braum, because with that mobility, so hard to stack up the passive before he dashes out again.
It makes a lot of sense there. So going to be focusing on that, as Azir will get banned away now from Saint. And you are looking at what LYON has. It's a relatively safe mid laner. You know, obviously does fit that control mage bill, but can escape from a lot of sticky situations, both with the Emperor's Divide as well as the dash. And when you see what Loud have drafted, they want to go in, right? You know, they've already showcased what they're going to be playing. I also think picks like this that Loud is showing become that much stronger when Renata's already off the table, right? Because Renata is so good into what they are displaying right now.
Yeah, I wonder maybe like the Talia could also be a ban, just Talia into the likes of a Qiyana and K'Sante can have a lot of value if we are just going to keep banning away mid laners in this situation. Going for the Annie instead, which we have seen rise in priority, got some buffs coming into this tournament. And Annie Wukong used to be such a strong combo when both those picks were firmly in the meta. So much value. I also think that by having a Braum, you have a little bit less go button, so it would have provided a lot of value in that regard.
Gwen, the consideration here for a Dhokla, obviously strong pick, considered to be quite good into tanks. Not that you're really expecting to just slam the K'Sante, but you can scale well. And I do like Gwen into some of these hard dive comps, not only because you have the Hallowed Mist, but also because your counter engage can be quite strong. Instead, it is going to be LeBlanc here for the answer from Saint. Of course, the ethereal chains do go between, you know, when you go across the veil, you go invis, but if the chains are already connected, that can follow through, can reveal you, and can be a pretty effective matchup. You have a lot of mobility to be able to get out when they are going in. And are we just going to get Sivir? Okay, so Sivir Alistar as the answer here.
I think kind of just picking for team fights when you take these two, you know, mobility going to help a lot of those, that top side you have, given that movement speed over. And the Alistar, you know, into the Braum Lucian. It's not really fun going into that and getting stunned up. But you can kind of just headbutt them away and play safe. I think LeBlanc makes a lot of sense, given that if you're playing something immobile, something that doesn't have a dash into Qiyana, Aurora, you're going to have a rough time.
Oh, the Garen, I talked about it.
Yeah, you mentioned.
This is one of the things, and we never really saw him brought it out. You know, it was last year when he was actually coaching 100 Thieves, he had been spamming Garen, which he was using as a counter to K'Sante, which had been incredibly popular. The reason, you know, this is really strong, there's a lot of armor pen on your E, but also when K'Sante goes all out, guess what happens? Justice.
Yeah, you just slam the ult, the true damage. He's getting low himself, had a choice, but also you look at the composition on the side aloud. Alistar is also pretty vulnerable to that ultimate, and it's a short-range comp. If you get on top of a Sivir as well, you know, she's going to have a bad time into a Garen.
Yeah,
if Garen gets ahead, I honestly feel like this champion's a menace.
It is. It's absolutely a menace. Can be really problematic to deal with the Garen, but Garen's weaknesses remain the same regardless of the matchup, is that this champion is relatively low mobility. You can be kited. If Sivir pops the ult and then all of a sudden you flash in, you get headbutt away by the Alistar, you get knocked up next time you're getting there. It's very difficult to close that gap.
I think having flash really big when it comes to team fights and a good angle of approach. I'm looking at this mid jungle as well. This Aurora and this Qiyana, if they get ahead, they can just be so oppressive. And you are playing a Lucian into this. This is a short range AD carry. You don't have shielding protection. You don't have healing from your support. I feel like you might just get blown up if you're trying to play too aggressive in these team fights. So really, can this mid-jungle from the side of LYON get some momentum? We saw YoungJae have a phenomenal game in Game 2. If he gets ahead on Qiyana, he can take over the Rift.
Absolutely can. YoungJae looked really good on the Aatrox, and Envy strong in the late game. So we'll see if LYON can continue that momentum here, or if LYON can get something back, as Inspire going to show up here at mid lane, and this is just an aggressive trade. Wants to get a little bit of damage down, and will be able to do it. So Envy getting put behind, a couple hundred health there in mid lane already.
Yeah, we see a trade of potions coming out as well, so Envy not opting to recall TP back in.
We can see Inspired wants to start enemy Raptors. YoungJae is on the red, won't actually have information about this. Now is going to spot each other. Will he be able to get it? Should be able to grab it with the smite. And the question is, can he get the little ones? Definitely want a lot of that experience. The reset is there. Now he gets level 2, and YoungJae now tried to steal away some of these, couldn't do it. Now loses his whole topside potentially off the back of this, because he's going to have to retreat.
Yeah. It looks like Inspired not opting.
Cross back, interesting.
Yeah, going to move back over towards his side of the jungle, pick up his blue in this situation. Maybe he's less focused around securing that side and he wants to move back over to cover his camps, but it looks like he's just moving to his blue side of the jungle.
Yeah, and it is going to be YoungJae crossing the entire map. Started his own red, didn't get that, ran to the enemy red, and is going to be on that. And remember, live now, the Act 2 Battle Pass bundle. Purchasing unlocks the Prestige Requiem Sona skin and Chroma. So grab that if you're interested now. It's also worth touching on, Dhokla is playing Ignite. I was wondering if he was going to play Ghost, if he was going to play Ignite, you know, what he was going to do. I do feel like combat summoners are very powerful in counter matchups because of home guards allowing you to get out on the map so quickly, and also getting TP from your role quest later on. But at the end of the day, YoungJae going to be pretty happy about this. They had that ward over on the blue buff, so they knew what Inspired was doing. Yeah, and this is YoungJae kind of getting ahead.
I assume that Inspired's now going to path up towards YoungJae's side of the jungle and clear out those camps.
But he has no info. They have no ward on the bot side, right? So he doesn't even know. He's going to find out just now. They had no vision on him. He thinks, I think, that YoungJae was on his blue camps and was going to cross over afterwards. Now he's going to get the bad news that his camps are gone on that bot side, as Dhokla does proxy one wave. He's going to go behind the tier 2. He's going to proxy the second wave as well. And then he's going to base and home guard out on the map.
It felt risky just to return to his own jungle, especially to his Gromp, which is so far away from everything with no ward coverage. I think he really had a window to twist a knife and choke YoungJae out of the game. And I feel like YoungJae kind of just went, okay, I'll just go to your red side. And he feels great because now he's clearing through his blue side of the jungle. There's still camps up for him. His Raptors is going to respawn soon.
Yeah, they're going to try to go forward here on to RedBert. RedBert is put low. Heals are traded. Bull going to get stunned up as well, but now comes YoungJae, and now Lion's bot lane is in trouble. They do have flashes. They might have to use them. RedBert going to be looking for the combo. Knocks him against the wall. The flash back there from Berserker. Lion and Isles and Berserker both put low, but not dead.
Yeah, super close there. There was still the barrier for Berserker and the flash, so he was safe, but Isles getting very low. Oh, we'll just be able to get that recall off there. Not going to stay around, and there would be the threat of the dive if YoungJae wanted to move in. By going for this gank, though, he has kind of sacrificed his topside jungle, so Inspired Especially getting the respawned Raptors there, going to feel really good about that.
Absolutely is, and at the end of the day, he ends up being ahead, as you say, because he went for that gank and really got nothing from it. So that's a bit tough for YoungJae. Inspired, always a player that doesn't really like to take risks. He wants to go for the guaranteed plays, and I think sometimes that can be to his detriment, right? You know, when he's thinking, okay, I'm not going to risk going for the red buff, or not going to risk going for these types of plays, and YoungJae kind of called his bluff and just crossed the map and stole away some camps.
And if you look at how it panned out in the bot lane, Isles is down flash. That's the only deficit in terms of summoners, and it's a Braum. Like, how concerned are you about a Braum being down flash? Not that much. He still has his dash, still has his Unbreakable. Not the easiest champion to punish. And the lane matchup is pretty even, but when we look mid, Saint has a pretty big advantage. We did get that level 1 pressure to put Envy a little bit behind, but to be already 10 plus CS ahead in the matchup, Saint having a great time in the city lane.
And Envy kind of had the depression buy for mid laners, which is just the brown boots when you go back to base and you can't really afford anything. So got the boots and did get a refillable, but going to be looking to base here one more time.
YoungJae hovering bot again. So really focused on trying to make something happen here. Isles is the target, you would assume, but it's, yeah, he just is ready to back away.
Yep, gets a little bit of first strike gold. His only camp is up on the top side, but he was doing this last game too, where, and even game 1, where he just will keep going back to the same lane, right? You know, a lot of times, you go for the gank, doesn't work, they just back off, they go back to farming. YoungJae did repeat ganks a number of times. It did not really work out for them, in game 1, even though they did eventually get a kill. As we can see, xyno trying to push Dhokla away from that proxy, not going to let him have it.
I think the problem now is you're going to get to the point where Inspired will hit level 6 before YoungJae maybe even gets level 5. And that's a big problem, because you're just not going to be able to contest the Wukong if he has his ult available and you're a level 5 Qiyana. Okay, YoungJae with some camp pickups here, maybe going to hit his level 5 soon, but still going to be down at least a level.
Yeah, he needs to get a kill. I mean, this is the risk versus reward, as we are going to see Saint potentially in some trouble, but just kind of sidestepping back and forth pretty calmly. Takes both halves of the damage there. Does have to flash away as YoungJae came in. And now spam assist pings coming out. They want to potentially look for another attack onto Saint.
Yeah, getting the flash, relieving some pressure, definitely good, but hard to get a kill on a LeBlanc. Even if LeBlanc's playing aggressive, you distortion back and then still have the flash available to get out. And it just feels like YoungJae not quite getting what you want in the situation. Inspired going to hit 6 off this scuttle, and that's the point where it gets very difficult to contest.
Yep, he is going to be basically that full level ahead. Not quite, but almost there. Dhokla just farming even with xyno at this point, and wasn't really able to make anything of the Vayne last game. Did kind of have that one good team fight, in the mid game where they chased down in the mid lane, and then had another fight where he was able to get in the back line and kill off Bull, but definitely did not get the effectiveness that we wanted to see from him, from that LCS side, where xyno just was kind of a rock on that Scion. Got some help early, they were able to push Dhokla off waves, and eventually the Scion was just worth way more.
Yeah.
Is RedBert going to come in and force the distortion back?
And there's danger of this happening in this game. We talked about last game having things like the Seraphine, the Mundo, the Cassiopeia, big scaling components to composition. I look at like a Lucian, LeBlanc, Garen. These picks can hold relevance in the later stages, but they kind of need to be accelerated. They need to be ahead. If your LeBlanc's behind, your Lucian's behind, your Garen's behind, they're never really going to hit the same.
Yep, I agree. And I think LYON will probably agree as well. So we'll see when they want to try to force Loud's hand, try to force them to fight. I do think their comp is a lot stronger on one item in general. When they are kind of all completing that one item, they are going to be quite strong. And Inspired has that early 6 and is here over on the Dragon looking for that. Is Saint going forward for another trade onto Envy, even with YoungJae around. Envy definitely taking the bad end of these trades.
Yeah, it's hard to get the damage back in return, and the fact that you don't even get the proc on the Sigil, and the Electrocute doing so much damage.
Garen trying to collapse here. Will be able to potentially defend the blue, but no, it is going to be claimed by YoungJae. Tried to collapse.
I'd be so scared of this Garen right now with Ignite and ult in pocket. Dhokla's itching to hit those buttons together.
And Garen has so much burst. You really have to respect how much damage he can get done. YoungJae going to be able to grab one grub, and just happy with that, will back off. Still the CS advantages maintained in mid and jungle here for LYON. That really is where the edge lies thus far this game. And bot lane, very, very even. The Sivir is going to be really happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, you had that early gank, which didn't really amount to much. The flash is back up for Isles, so He's fine, but you're happy just farming out in this bot lane 2v2. The Sivir, Alistar value in team fights is going to be massive, and it's really about the skirmishes for the Lucian Braum more than anything.
Nicely played there by Envy. Just held the skills until Saint was kind of pinned against the wall, had nowhere actually to dodge it. Tried to hit him with the chains, missed, and then tried to go for the Mimic chains as well, and that did not connect. So took the bad end of a trade, but is still up about 20 CS as Dhokla has been trying to get into proxy positions. xyno has defended it well, and as a result, it's just basically been a farm fest on the top side.
No fun allowed, you know. You're trying to play Garen, trying to get someone low, pop that ult, but just a farm fest for now.
And it's so important to be able to actually defend these proxy angles, because not only for the 1v1 is it annoying for xyno, but also when Garen gets in spot and is constantly clearing out these waves behind the turrets, the topside jungle becomes so dangerous then for your jungler. You know, when YoungJae is up there and xyno is locked at a tower answering his wave, if you face check a Garen in the jungle, that is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, if the Garen gets the silence down, the Qiyana is just dead. But even if you don't, if you go invisible and he's just spinning on top, it's the worst feeling.
I know you're here. Definitely tough, and so far very calm game, and we're almost 10 minutes in, no first blood just yet, but these are two teams that are very comfortable playing this sort of style, playing it slow and steady.
I'm used to this sort of thing. You know, there's a team in the LCK you may have heard of called Bro. They have this bro and brew style, very relaxed approach to the game. So, you know, I'm happy just to see where it goes. I think that this is not necessarily the composition you draft when you want to play it slow, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, obviously they still have a lot of time, you know, not even on one item at this point, but Inspire going to be coming in and pushing YoungJae back, who lands a nice double root there, but will retreat. Envy going forward is quite low. Just throws down the Between Worlds for a bit of a trade, but going to have to head back to base.
See, that's the trick. As soon as you start to address and talk about the lack of action, that inspires the players to take action.
Okay.
You know? You call them out about it.
Keep talking, buddy. Let's test this.
Yeah, so no kills so far after 10 minutes. Very slow pace. You know what? Day one, they were talking about combined kills per minute. The pace the teams were setting. I think Ja had some stat how if we kept up this pace for the rest of the tournament, it'd be the most bloody tournament.
Oh, so it's Jat's fault.
Yes, I actually blame him for this specifically.
I do too. I'm down with that. Let's put it all on Jat. Should not have talked about how bloody it was going to be. Now look what you've done.
Yeah. Yeah, all on him. Well, we can just talk about it being slow and then it'll just revert back again. Just got to do a lot of work to sort of gear back up.
First items starting to come through here as Yuntal's completed there for Bolt. Luden's done now for Saint. And we are going to get the Stridebreaker soon for Dhokla, but xyno already has his Iceborne Gauntlet. So the first item is going to be done pretty much for everyone shortly, you have to think. And I'm going to expect to see LYON trying to stack these dragons. It is both Infernal first as well as Hextech second. So those are two of the best souls to get. As Isle's going to use that Spellbook Exhaust and not really get anything for it, but maybe just want to cycle through.
Yeah, I think it feels bad when you see Infernal Dragon, Hextech Dragon, and you've got the early Dragon Prio.
Two of the best souls.
Yeah, bit unfortunate, but I think LYON's still in a position where they want to prioritize those, especially I think after last game when they obviously lost to a Hextech soul, lost to a soul in general, and with that confident lean to that, oh, YoungJae might be in trouble.
Yep, he is going to get rooted up, throws down the supreme display of talent, but the second chains is there. Inspired flashes forward. YoungJae has overstepped, and Saint is there to punish. First blood for the LYON jungler.
And it's just the power of the LeBlanc, you know, easy setup with those chains. Inspired flies in and gets the kill, and even Trader Sums as well with both junglers using their flashes. So I think LYON in a pretty good position off that. Not really putting too much presence towards Dragon, but we'll see the replay on this. And YoungJae's playing this very aggressive, uses the dash as well as W to try and get some more of the camp, and just ends up...
Oh, Saint's going to get solo killed. We come back to live and we see a single auto flying through the air, and Saint getting soloed by Envy after winning this lane in the 1v1 for so long.
Yeah, not sure how that happened. I don't think it really should happen. And did also see Saint, not the first time in the series he's been solo killed actually, so unfortunately it seemed to become a little bit of a common thing for him right now.
Yeah, that is tough. And Isle's going to be coming in, pushing YoungJae off this dragon. I think LYON definitely would have wanted to fight for it, but now their setup is going to be delayed a little bit. And it was a trade of flashes, it looks like, in that mid lane solo kill, but Inspired heading out towards mid, and LYON still trying to potentially set up for this dragon.
Yeah, Bull should be able to just push this wave in and get some prio here, so you see LYON contesting it, but it's Inspired on the dragon. And YoungJae not really in position to move over yet.
Yeah, trying to threaten a potential move through mid lane was YoungJae, but he was warded out. And
I think
LYON
the fact
bot lane just backed off.
You don't have the Supreme Display of Talent, you don't have the Between Worlds, those big ults being down in the mid jungle. We are going to be able to see what happened. Saint half HP goes in, and Envy just hits everything, and also flashes first. You know, if Saint had flashed first himself, would have been able to survive. A flashing second there gets caught out. It is Dragon secured for LYON, and it's Ocean Soul, which pretty underwhelming in terms of what it offers for LYON's composition. So
yeah,
LYON feeling pretty good about this.
I feel like it's arguably the worst soul they could have gotten actually against this comp. When you're thinking about Qiyana, Aurora, all this upfront burst against a lot of the squishy targets that are on LYON. A lot of these champions you would think aren't going to live long enough to actually get a ton of value out of it. You know, maybe Garen and Wukong and Braum can get some value there. And any soul obviously is very valuable, but definitely not the one I think that LYON would have wanted to roll.
It's not a game winner. There's some souls you get it, especially with the right comp. Xyno might have found him. Yep,
Xyno going to go all out here. Saint trying to distort back, trying to get a little bit tricky, but he distorted and then Mimic distorted into the wall. Really mishandled that play, and he gets solo killed by Xyno on the Cassante. That is not what you want to see from Saint.
Maybe Envy was talking up his solo kill, and Xyno was like, well, it's not that hard. I can do it too. Yeah, Saint struggling on the LeBlanc. A pick where I feel like you really shouldn't be getting solo killed. You have so much ability to opt out of fights.
Dhokla looking for a solo. He gets one of his own up on the top side, takes down Envy with the flash, the ult, the ignite. Finally getting something back here for LYON, who still maintains that advantage, but does feel like they are a lot more early game focused in their composition. And Saint, you know, was doing very well in the 1v1, but you make that one mistake and he's kind of known as an emotional player. Sometimes that can snowball. And LYON are now looking to punish Dhokla. They've TP'd in. RedBert is here. Dhokla gets the bad news. The ignite comes down. The Pathmaker connects, and Dhokla has no way out of this one. Will take him a while, but Xyno can just auto him down.
Yeah, and the shutdown as well. So pretty big there. Xyno getting a lot of gold off that play. And Dhokla had to commit a lot to get that kill onto Envy. Not as easily done as that solo kill we got on the bot side, but this was just run in. Yeah, so much counterplay on display there, you know.
Shouldn't have been in top lane. That's the counterplay.
Yeah, you should
have stayed home today, buddy.
I think so, but Xyno's like, okay, no cooldowns on this Garen. This is a pretty easy pickup. Even has the backup of RedBert there to get the kill. So super positive play for LYON overall. And I feel like with the soul that we got, with it being Ocean Soul, with the composition LYON has, and how the game's been going,
we got to go back to live. Bull looking to go in here onto Berserker, who was CC'd up there by RedBert. Isles gonna have to jump back as YoungJae comes in, looking for some more damage. LYON bot lane will survive, but yeah, Xyno getting fed, I think, is one of the most problematic members actually for LYON. They don't have the best tank killing. And if this guy can kind of just run straight at your LeBlanc, run straight at your Lucian, and kind of ignore everything, he's going to create so much space for the carries of LYON.
I think it's such a nightmare pick to play Lucian into, because you're not the best tank shredder, and also you're always going to be kind of in his danger range, right? If you're playing up to him, he has the potential to ult you.
Yeah, you can see in the Coinbase gold grind there, Xyno ahead despite the solo kill for Dhokla. Xyno got back-to-back kills, and now they're going to look. There's the flash forward, the Pathmaker, but the Q3 does miss. He goes all out, and he's looking to knock down Dhokla. Supreme display of talent, stunned into the wall, knocked down as YoungJae is on the board.
Good setup there from the top jungle duo from LYON. A kill for YoungJae. He's been hunting for one for a while, finally gets one on the board. And it's only a slight gold lead for LYON. They're feeling good about their position in this game. Xyno should be able to get this tower as well and boost that even further. And you can hear the crowd support for their home team right now.
Yeah, they should be really excited here. Saint going back in with the distortion, taking a ton of damage. He might get solo killed again by Envy. Saint has got to be careful here. Cannot allow these mistakes to compound, as has been a bit of a rough couple minutes there for LYON. Xyno is just getting ridiculously fed now. He's 1.5k up, got that first tower gold, got back-to-back kills across the map. He's on 2 items plus the upgraded boots, already working towards the 3rd. This guy is just going to be a brick wall.
He's got plated steel caps and double armor first item, and the only AP on the other team is LeBlanc, who's not really a tank shredder. So you're in such a good spot in this game as this Cassante, just to be a constant threat. This is a hard one. This is a hard position to be in for LYON right now. Dragon up in 15 seconds. It's not a complete bailout if they get this soul, but LYON definitely should be looking to sort of contest this. It's something that will help them, give them some strength. They are moving in that area, trying to get some mid-prio here.
Yep, Inspired moving here with Isles. Going to get a nice little chunk down onto RedBert. Loses about 40% of his HP as YoungJae is warded out on the side. You can see xyno moving up now, trying to reclaim space. Will be spotted by the ward, and Saint is following, but it does feel like this standoff is favoring Loud. As Dhokla comes out from base, he just finished the PD, won't have flash, but will have Ignite and Ult for this fight.
See some good poke coming out already onto the bot lane of LYON here. We have Envy just waiting, has TP ready and available to join if needed. More poke coming through.
Isles down to almost half HP at this point. As Inspired going to step forward. That's a flash out from YoungJae. He was very scared of that engage. Maybe a little preemptive, but was worried about getting CC'd up and knocked down. And Inspired now has flash. He has Cyclone, and maybe there's an angle. The TP going to be coming in here from Envy as they're looking for Isles. Isles going to turn around with the ulti. Bull is put low. RedBert is standing. He is fighting, and he is deleted. Justice is delivered by Dhokla as xyno is on the side and Envy is retreating. He was overconfident. Now the Battle Herald comes through from Inspired. Going to be able to knock that one down. The supreme display of talent only landing on the clone of Wukong. LYON, I think they've earned themselves the dragon. It's
just so crazy how different Alistar plays when there's a Garen in the game, because you have that already, like, okay, I can soak damage, dead. Just immediately. That ultimate's so good against him.
And it's one of these habits that you have to be able to break where you can't ult late. You can't ult at half health. You gotta ult at full, because the true damage isn't gonna one-shot you from 100% HP, but Dhokla might be getting taken down here as he's gonna have to flash away from xyno. xyno has no flash. Dokla's running. Lucian was moving down, but Berserker is kind of hesitating. I guess Dhokla feels that he is out. So Berserker will go back towards mid lane as Dhokla, I mean, with no ult, you stand no chance in that 1v1.
Also feels bad because we talked about the importance of flash on Garen if you want to have impact in these team fights. So that being down pretty sore. You also have this counter matchup where xyno is just super far ahead. No longer feels like a counter matchup.
You know, it's really interesting because we've obviously been talking about this as Garen has to get backline and kill backline. I wonder if LYON are looking at it like, no, we actually just kill frontline because you can delete RedBert, or potentially if xyno goes all out, you just use the Garen ult on the front line. And just, we've maybe been thinking about it the wrong way as he needs to get on the Sivir and he's saying, no, I just kill whoever comes to me. So going to be interested to see if that's how they actually end up playing out these fights.
Yeah, could be the approach, right? That just on-demand, huge burst of damage available.
Kind of like Cho'Gath almost, you know, where it's just you're playing with like minus 1,000 health because of true damage, right? So sometimes you can just go on frontline and kill them that way.
It's kind of like so many people have said how insane Garen's ult would be if it wasn't on Garen. It is.
Imagine if Cassante had that.
No, I don't want to picture that world.
Yeah, I mean, he would be losing all out, which is pretty powerful, but yeah, Dhokla, he's just lying in wait here. Going to be looking to just clear up this wave. In comes Inspired. Going to see if xyno wanted to commit to anything, but YoungJae is on his way down as well. Dhokla has the ulti now, but he is getting beat down right now. He's going to go all out, but in comes the Ignite. In comes the ultimate. Justice delivered once more. The TP is there from RedBert, but just to pay his respects to xyno, who's already fallen.
It's so ridiculous how much damage it does.
They're killing frontline. I'm changing my whole POV on this. As Saint going to be going up here against Envy. Saint going to have to try to get away. Will distort back to safety. As stopped the deaths for now, but definitely not feeling comfortable in this game is Saint. As YoungJae going to have to use that ult just for a knockback. He gets stunned up. The culling comes through. Bull is incredibly low. Are they going to go for more? The ulti even popped out there by RedBert. As Berserker is flexing his muscles, Saint flashes forward. He's looking for Envy. Can Envy get out here? He has the flash. Will have to use it. It's a trade of flashes at the end of the day, but I do think that favors the LeBlanc.
Yeah, and just across the board, it feels like LYON getting so much of an advantage. When it felt like Loud was really gaining control, suddenly bot, mid, and top, we just see everyone kind of clawing back some control. And with 2 minutes until that soul, this is a big advantage to be able to pick up.
It's looking good for them, and we'll see if they can capitalize in this next fight. The flash will be back for Garen, as of course that Ignite should be up as well. You know, it's going to be a little bit close, I guess, on the flash, but right around that dragon spawn.
He used it when it was 420 till the next dragon, and he doesn't have any reduction on the cooldown.
You just wanted to say 420, buddy.
No. I resent that accusation.
I can see the smile in your face.
Well, now I'm smiling.
I know what you are.
I think he'll be a little late, but they stall out the dragon. Then maybe he'll have it.
Yeah, we'll see. YoungJae gonna get spotted now. Saint is there, as is Inspired. And YoungJae's in a world of trouble here. Has the flash, but no chance to use it. He's knocked down by Inspired. Inspired looking like he is in his comfort zone. Are they gonna go for the Baron? This would be risky. I don't think that they will.
They could potentially bait for it and try and turn, but the vision setup they have isn't insane, and Inspired's already in base, so I guess the answer is no.
Yep, just goes for the recall, and Dhokla stays down towards bot. Going to continue pushing that forward. Saint just kind of poking around here as now he has Isles in his back pocket. Looking for Envy. The chain's actually going to connect through everything. Nice distortion back, dodging the damage. The Braum passive is there. He goes across the veil. They can't finish him off, but good snipe with the chains there from Saint, putting on a lot of pressure.
Yeah, really putting on pressure here, and it's 40 seconds until Dragon. And now we see Inspired already there on this side of the map. xyno die again here.
There's the face check. In comes Inspired, and xyno going to be in trouble. Uses the Pathmaker. The stun is dodged out on. Won't be able to get a kill, but will push him back a little bit.
A big thing is that you have the Black Cleaver now for the Garen. You also have the Armor Shred from the Wukong on the Q, so the Xante does get his resistances shredded a good amount there. Also, Envy hasn't reset yet.
That's so late to be basing now. Saint going to be TPing out to the rest of the team. Berserker, of course, working towards his LDR. Doesn't have it, but Black Cleaver has the Last Whisper. Their tank killing is getting a lot better. The spell pen is there, of course, for Saint. Has been for a while. RedBert going to be checking, and he's going to wish he didn't. Has to pop the ult, has to flash out. Dhokla wasn't even there to use his ult as xyno TP's into the middle of the team. YoungJae's getting hit on the side by Inspired. Berserker has to dash back. Envy looking for it. Will xyno go for it? He's stepping forward very confidently. Nice buffer on the Braum stun. Berserker again has to dash back. That is on the hunt, spent though by Loud, and they can't really get a purchase in the river.
Struggling to push in, and there's a threat as well. Alistar's so low with Dhokla. Oh!
Dhokla flashes, silence, ults! YoungJae flashes out, uses some display of talent there, trying to stay alive. Does survive the ignite. xyno's gonna go all out, but he's got a flash to safety as well. Dhokla jumps out of the brush. It's a jump scare for LYON. It's Inspired going forward. It's the Cyclone knocking him up. Look at Pull on the side. He's gonna flash back. Does survive for now, but RedBert does not. LYON crushed the fight. They are playing these team fights out beautifully.
The approach is so slow, and then Dhokla just pounces, sees this window onto the Qiyana, catches off guard, uses the flash, and that's the big thing. The flash wasn't synced with Dragon, so they were patient. They waited for it to be back up and available, and as soon as Dhokla has it, jumps on the jungler, doesn't leave any window for the Qiyana to use stealth or anything like that. And just that burst of damage makes it so hard to play. Get the moment of the game there with the Dragon Soul secured for LYON.
MasterCard, priceless moment of the game. Have that soul. The question is, will it be enough to seal this game? We can watch this one more time. Dhokla was spotted walking in the brush, but they didn't expect the damage.
It was also, the green stealth available for YoungJae, but just didn't get a chance to use it before the flash silence comes in. And from there, you're on the back foot, fighting your way out of it. It's just an opportunity for LYON to push forward here. RedBert's already low with no ultimate. xyno is kiting out, which isn't ideal when you're playing the Xante. Just great setup there from LYON.
Yep, and Bull lost his flash to that culling there from Berserker. Berserker held on to his flash, so he'll have it for that next fight. For potential Elder. xyno does have Dhokla behind him, but he wants to go back to base. I gotta say, this game is kind of changing my perspective on Garen and how you have to play out the fights. We were really thinking about it from that perspective of, yeah, you have to access backline, that could be tough. But they're just killing frontline. They're just saying, it's not actually true against this specific comp. And they have been right thus far. Isles just gonna let the ulti rip to try to clear out this wave. Loud was grouped up, looking to push in. And we'll see if LYON can start to win out in the side lanes a little bit more now with this Ocean Soul.
And it's not the highest value Ocean Soul game, but it does give you that mana regen, and Dhokla has had no mana all game, so there's the value.
He'll never run out of mana again. That's a guarantee here from Aux.
A guarantee? Wow.
And Saint, okay, buddy. First, you're hitting me with the 420, now the Garen puns. I'm supposed to be the dad in this cast.
Yeah.
You're just stealing it away from me.
Okay, I'll leave it to you next time.
Thank you, exactly. Well, we'll see what LYON can get done. Berserker, of course, does have the LDR now. And I do think Ocean Soul, while it's not always great against these burst champs in a team fight, in side lane, Ocean Soul is king. It's so impossible to contest people in that side lane unless you have incredible consistent damage. For Envy versus Saint, if Saint is just constantly trading with you, you're just healing to full over and over and over. And Inspired now is going to find Envy. He's going to go between worlds. Still has across the veil, will hop backwards. Saint looks for him. can't find him as he rocket belts away from the ethereal chains.
Yeah, I see the problem is Envy has 17 dashes. They only factored in 16. So, you know, still had the flash in pocket as well.
Big mistake.
Yeah. Hard to pin down. It is still resources bin, right? The ultimate being down is a big tool not available. Dhokla's hunting.
Dhokla is hunting and will back off. He doesn't want to fully commit to that, but they are covering Saint, who is going to be able to get a plate on that top side and trying to deny as much vision as possible. Isles here spots all of Loud coming in, throws up the door, but he doesn't really have any backup right now. Now lets the ulti rip here as the supreme display of talents just used on Saint, but Berserker is peppering them with bullets from the side, getting a bunch of damage down onto RedBert, who just always has to pop the ult so early that then he can never look for a re-engage. He's basically a one-combo champ in this game.
You can see he has adjusted to, like you said, which is, it makes sense, but it puts it in such an uncomfortable position. And now they're starting the Baron, and with the Ocean Soul, they have a lot of sustain. Oh, big ult.
Garen is on the side. Saint goes forward, distorts in, gets a big chunk down. And they're still working on this. Dhokla is going to reveal himself. YoungJae has been spotted. They want to keep YoungJae out of the pit. We'll see if they can do it. RedBert has no ulti. YoungJae's getting in range, but he's going to be too late. Saint goes back in. The first kill of the fight is onto RedBert. And in goes Inspired. It's a multi-man Cyclone. And Inspired is running this game, killing off the entire backline. xyno's trying to run for the hills, has the Pathmaker, gets stunned up. Blast Cone back into the waiting arms of Berserker. It's 2 to the head just to make sure. It's an ace for LYON, it's a Baron for LYON, and it might just be match point.
Clean there from LYON. The approach so slow, so controlled, didn't give Loud a window in. In the last second, they rushed to try and get to the Baron, and we see LYON pounce, Inspired on the backline, decimating them, and now pushing them into their last chance to save the series.
Really impressive performance here from LYON. RedBert respawns, but he can do nothing but watch as his Nexus is razed to the ground. LYON go up 2-1. They're on match point.
This was a prime example of just them taking their composition, playing it out exactly as they wanted to, using the Garen just to shred the tanks, and how uncomfortable it really made RedBert on this Alistar. You saw how